No way. The junior coach chuckled while the senior lady lifted the rifle. The top-tier sharpshooters exchanged subtle grins, noticing her hands shake a bit. They missed her gaze. Steady, intent, precise. They had never met anyone quite like Elizabeth. But they were moments away from discovering why dismissing a 68-year-old lady was their worst error. The early sunlight threw lengthy shadows over Ridgeline's shooting complex, among Colorado's most respected training centers. U.S. flags waved in the soft wind as a row of dark SUVs rolled into the lot. 6 guys stepped out dressed in tactical outfits, shades, and looks of rehearsed gravity. They were the Silver Eagles, a premier shooting squad, famous for equal parts accuracy and ego. Elizabeth Thompson pulled her plain sedan a few spots farther off. At 68, with her silver, blonde bob and lined skin, she resembled somebody's grandma more than a marksman. She had on a basic tan coat over a navy top, relaxed slacks, and practical footwear. Nothing in her look hinted she fit in here. As she neared the check-in counter, talk died down, head swiveled. The young clerk glanced up, puzzlement flashing across her features. "Need assistance, ma'am." The birding club gathers on Tuesdays. A ripple of giggles spread through the entrance area. Elizabeth smiled with patience. "I've booked the long-range rifle lane." Elizabeth Thompson. The clerk's eyes widened a touch as she scanned her screen. "Ah, it's listed. First visit here." "My initial one," Elizabeth answered, signing the paperwork with an even hand. "My nephew gifted me the slot for my birthday. Told me, pick up fresh pastimes." More grins, more murmurs. Elizabeth acted unaware, though her hearing was sharp. Another detail nobody would suspect. Connor Walsh, the site's chief trainer, strode over. Tall, toned, hairstyled to perfection, black tee hugging his build. He radiated assurance that tipped into cockiness. "Mrs. Thompson, Connor here. I'll guide you today." His manners stayed courteous, yet laced with entertainment. "Ever shot a rifle?" Elizabeth shifted her spectacles. "It's been ages. I may need a quick review." Connor dipped his head, stifling a breath. "No problem. We'll cover the very fundamentals. Safety above all, yeah." He spoke deliberately, volume high, as if to a kid. Elizabeth just smiled. Perfect plan. Fadayer, the shooting range, the open-air long range stretched 1,000 yards, steel plates set at varying intervals. The Silver Eagles had staked the best spots. Their high and gear laid out with exacting attention. They readied for the regional contest, a draw for the nation's finest shooters. Connor escorted Elizabeth to a bench at the distant end, far from the pros. He started breaking down rifle basics as if reciting a toddler's primer. "This is the buttstock. This is the trigger. Never aim at anything you don't mean to hit." He stressed every syllable. "Thanks, dear," Elizabeth answered, letting him show stance and breath control. Marcus Bennett, Silver Eagles captain, strolled closer, curiosity winning. He observed Connor reposition Elizabeth's arms, correcting her hold again and again. "Brand, new to firearms, Mom?" Marcus inquired, tone warm yet patronizing. "Absolutely," Elizabeth agreed. "My late spouse owned hunting guns, but I never handled them. Figured I'd check the hype." Marcus swapped looks with Connor. "Well, perfect spot for it. Connor's among the state's top teachers." Connor stood taller, pride clear in his frame. "We'll get her ringing steel at 100 yards before we're done." Quite a milestone for a rookie. "Don't raise expectations," Marcus chuckled. "The women in my family struggle with the kick." He clapped Connor's shoulder and returned to his squad, all eyeing the scene with smirks. Elizabeth stayed quiet, absorbing the rifle's heft and balance, gouging ranges by sight, reading wind from the far grasses sway. "Let's begin simple," Connor declared, posting a paper bullseye at just 50 yards. "Aim to strike the sheet first." Elizabeth nodded, face neutral despite the babying. She peered through the optic, tweaked her posture a hair, inhaled deeply. Her opening round sailed wide. Connor masked a grin. "All good. D-boot shots are toughest. Let's tweak your position." Elizabeth let him rearrange her, though she knew precisely her error. The gun differed from her norm, trigger pull strange. She was dialing in. Perhaps a milder piece, Connor offered, his tolerance thinning fast. No, this works, Elizabeth said. Let me go. Fanfafi a small crowd again. By middle afternoon, a modest group had formed to track Elizabeth's advancement. Connor had pushed the bullseye to 75 yards. She now tagged it regularly, though groupings stayed loose. The Silver Eagles paused their drills to watch, jabs growing bolder. "Hey, Connor," shouted Ryan, the squad's junior, designer shades atop flawless hair. "Maybe book the Kitty Lane next round." My 8-year-old nephew outshoots that. Lauder rolled. Teammate Dustin fished out his phone. "Gotta film this for our feeds. Grandma's range debut could blow up." Elizabeth acted deaf, centering on breath, planning tiny flaws to preserve her act. She'd worn this disguise in far riskier settings. Connor clung to protocol, but annoyance crept through. "Mrs. Thompson's managing okay for a beginner." He faced Elizabeth. "Recall my breathing tip. In. Hold. Ease out, like so," she asked, intentionally hunching, knowing it would skew the round. "No." No, Connor exhaled, physically reshaping her again. "Loosen the shoulders. You're rigid. Here." He pressed her shoulders harder than needed. "Sense it?" Elizabeth spotted a woman across the bays, 30s maybe, viewing the display with clear distaste. The woman met Elizabeth's gaze, offered a faint, supportive dip of the head, then resumed her own session. From the primary line, the Silver Eagles ran a tough sequence, striking plates at staggered ranges. Their accuracy shone, each round landing with little correction. "That's the standard." Marcus boomed, plainly aiming the words at Elizabeth. He ripped 3 fast shots, all clustering inches from bullseye. Years of drill, commitment, raw gift. Some own it, some ought to knit. His crew roared, voices unchecked. Ryan slapped Marcus's palm, adding, "Or bingo night. Isn't a senior center nearby? How's Elder Ed going, Connor?" Another yelled. "Olympic, ready." Geriatric bracket. He mimed a Walker, stooped. Connor's cheeks tinted, babysitting a senior newbie, plainly dented his cred with the shooters he idolized. Elizabeth read his tug of war. Pro teacher versus peer, hungry guy. "Let's switch it up," he told Elizabeth, voice curt. "I'll hang a bigger plate at 100. Just land inside the ring." Elizabeth whiffed the first try, sparking fresh giggles from the Eagles. "Forget specs at home, grams." Dustin hollered. "Whatever you judge best." Elizabeth answered Connor softly, tuning out the taunts. Internally, she logged every barb, every face. Not from spite, but lifelong routine, mapping traits, soft spots, leverage. A passing safety officer scowled at the Eagles, but stayed mute, unwilling to challenge the venue's stars. While Connor trekked to post the fresh plate, Marcus neared Elizabeth once more. He propped against her bench, crowding her zone. "No rush from Connor," he Fox warned, tone syrupy with disdain. "He trains pros. We run ladies' night third Thursdays. Far better vibe. Lighter guns, closer steel, wine, apps." He winked. "Maybe more your lane." Elizabeth met his stare, blue eyes steady, direct. "How thoughtful. Does sorting shooters by sex, not ability, help?" Marcus faltered, smile slipping. "Well, females typically lack upper body power or spatial sense for precision work. Biology, not prejudice." "Really?" Elizabeth nudged her glasses. "Intriguing." Yet Annie Oakley bested Frank Butler in 1875. Odd biological glitch. Marcus's face tightened. Era's different. Today's comp scene is another beast. "True enough," Elizabeth agreed amiably. "Change alone endures, correct." Marcus eyed her, unease rising. Her cadence, her gaze. Nothing matched her clumsy show. Before he could retort, Connor returned. "Set for the next test, Mrs. Thompson?" Connor asked, glancing warily between them. "Call me Elizabeth," she said. "And yes, I think so." Marcus rejoined his group, muttering something that turned every head back toward Elizabeth. Curiosity sharpened. She felt their scrutiny, now measuring. She had let a sliver of truth slip, just enough to sprout uncertainty. The day was fading, and Fawn for Fee, a more challenging target at Elizabeth, now struck the 100-yard plate with decent regularity. Nothing dazzling, but Connor shifted from scorn to faint praise. "You're catching on faster than I figured," he conceded. "Care to push harder?" Elizabeth dipped her chin. "I'm having more fun than expected." Connor indicated a small steel gong at 200. "Give that a try. No shame missing." Most newbies wouldn't dare this far on day one. The Silver Eagles halted their work to spectate. They'd wagered quietly whether Grandma would tag it once in 10. Elizabeth assumed position, aimed carefully, fired. The round strayed. Near. Connor fibbed to buoy her. It wasn't. Elizabeth corrected, fired again. Missed too. Maybe drop to the 100. Connor urged, embarrassment for his pupil clear. "No," Elizabeth stated, tone firm. "I want to keep going." After 5 straight misses, Eagles' laughter burst. "No shot," Connor finally blurted, polish fracturing. "Mrs. Thompson, respectfully, that plate exceeds your skill right now. Let's stay realistic." Elizabeth rested the rifle, met Connor's eyes. His chiseled face flushed with irritation, patience spent. Behind, the Eagles watched, grins wide. "What if?" Elizabeth said low. "I claimed I could ring the end of range plate, the 1,000-yard one." A lauder swelled. "I'd call it sunstroke." Connor shocked back, smirk unchecked. "That gong's expert only. Even comp trainees miss plenty." Elizabeth nodded, thoughtful. "Understood." She placed the rifle down gently, rose from the bench. For a beat, Connor figured she quit, finally seeing her limits. Instead, she crossed to her compact duffel, unzipped it. "Mind if I use my own gear?" she asked. Connor's brows lifted. "You own a rifle?" I do," Elizabeth confirmed, drawing a worn leather sleeve. "From an old pal." The Eagles hushed, interest peaked. "Go ahead." Connor allowed, amusement creeping back. "Comfort matters." Elizabeth opened the case, unveiling a bespoke long-range rifle that even Connor's trained eye marked as elite. Not gaudy or fresh, but every part screamed craftsmanship and care. "Fine piece." Connor allowed, shock in his tone. "Where'd that come from?" "Gift, as I said." Elizabeth assembled it with fluid skill, all prior clumsiness vanished. Her action swift, exact, almost elegant. Connor watched, condescension swapped for bafflement. "Mrs. Thompson, you really know that gun?" Elizabeth smiled. A new smile, assured, playful. "Let's see, shall we?" Faupar's the 1,000-yard target, the range mood flipped. What started as comedy, elderly lady playing warrior, turned murky. The Silver Eagles abandoned their drills, pulled by Elizabeth's sudden shift. Connor stood aside, arms folded, as Elizabeth readied her rifle on the bench. She deployed the bipod, dialed the optic, ran fingers down the barrel like greeting a longtime companion. "You sure about the 1,000-yarder?" Connor tried once more to deter. "Even with quality iron, that's near impossible for some." "Yes." Elizabeth cut in, calm yet decisive. "The 1,000-yard plate, please." Connor shrugged. "Your funeral." He faced the Eagles. "Need a spotter downrange." Marcus stepped up, snagging his high mag scope with theatrical wariness. He posted beside Elizabeth, smirk lingering. "I'll call how close," he said. "Wand sometimes drifts it within 10 feet. The Elizabeth stayed silent. She dropped prone behind the rifle, metamorphosis total. Gone the bumbling senior. Here stood pure focus, poise, quiet mastery. She fine-tuned the scope, felt the light breeze on her skin. 3 slow breaths, held the third midway. The rifle barked. Marcus, glued to the spotter, blinked hard. "That's a hit." Shock leaked through. Connor advanced.
"What?"
"Show me." He grabbed the scope, trained it far. Dead center, no question. Beginner's fluke, Ryan offered from the back. Elizabeth cycled the bolt wordlessly, fired again. Second bullseye, inch from the first. "Holy," Marcus breathed. Elizabeth triggered a third center, forming a tight tride. Silence blanketed the range. Eagles swapped stunned looks. Connor lowered the glass slowly, staring at Elizabeth. "Who are you?" he asked, all superiority gone. Elizabeth rose from prone, rolled her shoulders loose. "Just a senior sampling a fresh pastime," she said. A glint in her eye gave away her delight at their jolt. "Nobody groups like that without decades?" Marcus pressed. Elizabeth inclined her head. "Usually correct." "Military." Connor ventured, tone now deferential, almost awed. "Sort of," Elizabeth answered. She began wiping the rifle, motions deliberate, ingrained. "Government service, long stretch. Different branch, same rules." Marcus's eyes widened with recognition. "You were black bag, spec ops." Elizabeth smiled, neither yes nor no. "I shot internationally a while, held some records till gear evolved." She said it lightly, like mentioning a bake-off ribbon. Connor paled as pieces clicked. "Wait, Elizabeth Thompson." "The Elizabeth Thompson, 78 worlds." She tipped her head. "Maiden name Harrison, but yes, another life." The eagles now clustered close, prior jeers erased. Even the safety officer drifted over, drawn by the buzz. She was mythic. Connor told his baffled crew. National golds, then vanished. Whispers said she got pulled for classified work. Elizabeth finished casing the rifle, unfazed by Connor's recap. "History stays history," she said plainly. "Today I'm simply a lady enjoying the range." Fa-fa-fee, the legendary sniper, news raced through the grounds at warp speed. In 20 minutes, the lot hummed with talk of the fabled shooter who materialized. Staff, on break, rushed in, inventing reasons to pass her bay. Even the owner, retired brass, rarely seen with patrons, emerged to watch from afar. The Silver Eagles, swagger demolished, begged Elizabeth to join their prime lane. Their shift was stark, from smug grins to rapt focus, from barbs to hungry queries. "Could you demo your method?" Marcus asked, voice deferential, near worshipful. Gone the strut, replaced by real humility. "Your win calls. I've never seen such long-range steadiness. 15 years competing, can't match it." Elizabeth set her rifle aside, stepped to assist. "Elbow here," she showed, guiding form. Her hands, earlier shaky, now granite steady. Too many fixate on steel, ignore their frame. Breath causes tiny shifts that kill at distance. "Like this?" Marcus mirrored exactly. "Improved." Elizabeth nodded. "Now sense the air. Don't measure. Feel it on cheek, ears." She tweaked his stance further, teaching soft but exact. "It's sensing the world, not just eyeing it," she said. "Wind talks if you listen." Ryan, earlier the cruelest, approached warily. "Mrs. Thompson, check my hold." I wobbled past 800. Elizabeth gave minutes to each man, delivering small, game-changing fixes. Their thirst to absorb was thick, past mockery seemed erased, though Elizabeth recalled every syllable. Dustin, scrolling, looked up shocked. "Just searched you. You're the Elizabeth Thompson? 78 world record." That shot was deemed impossible then. Elizabeth shrugged. "Records exist to fall. The Korean woman who topped mine 5 years back. Study her." True prodigy. The female instructor Elizabeth had clocked walked up, hand out. "Alexis, staff teacher here. What you pulled today?" She shook her head, admiring. "Overdue. These guys needed the wake up." Connor hung back, watching with shame and wonder. His cocky stance sagged. He looked lost in the new order. During a lull in the pop-up clinic, he neared Elizabeth. "Mrs. Thompson." "Elizabeth. I owe you a real sorry," he said low, voice tight with remorse. "I was belittling, unprofessional, flat wrong in every way I handled you." He shook his head, words failing. Elizabeth studied him, seeing past polished looks to the doubt beneath. "You're a solid coach, Connor. Tech knowledge top tier, but you teach from pride, not soul. Too busy proving worth, you miss real bonds with students." Connor's eyes flared at the read. He nodded, taking it straight. "Never seen shooting like yours. We could learn volumes. If you'd share." Elizabeth smiled, first true warmth all day. "That's why I'm here. Actually, no nephew gift. I booked it. Been scouting your squad at meets, you have." Connor's shot clear. 3 tournaments this year. All gifted, but stalled. Too much gear worship, brag flexing. Not enough core work. She glanced at the eagles, now drilling with fresh intent. Talent sans humility caps itself. Marcus caught the tail, nodded, insight flashing. We've hovered same ranks 2 seasons. Maybe this. Connor tracked her look, seeing his idols anew. Come back. Real clinic. Team would gain huge from your depth. Elizabeth slung her bag, checked the time. Next Tuesday, 9 a.m. sharp. She paused, pinning Connor with weight. And Connor, invite Thursday ladies. Everyone. Skill wears any shape. You just need eyes to spot it. The owner stepped up, hand extended. Mrs. Thompson, honor to host you as guest coach. We'd pay, naturally. Elizabeth gripped firm. No need. Best reward is growth. She eyed the eagles, huddled, dissecting new lessons. Besides, these boys will keep me amused. Across the bays, Ryan's voice carried. Can you believe the grandma cracks? She'd smoke us blind. By 5-5 conclusion, as sunset painted ridgeline shooting complex, Elizabeth headed to her car, feeling respectful eyes track her. The Silver Eagles had pushed for dinner. She declined politely. Some lessons need space to root. Behind, Connor already mapped next week's drill, tone alive with fresh drive. The kid had promise. They all did. Once pride stepped aside, Elizabeth grinned to herself, key in the ignition. Looks can be lethal tools, and the biggest edge often hides in being dismissed. A truth she'd taught today as cleanly as she once taught precision to covert teams. Some arts never rust, some truths never age. Years grant wisdom if you survive to claim it. If this tale hit home, remember surfaces rarely tell all. The soft-spoken grandma at the cafe, the old gent on the bus. Each hall's a lifetime we can't guess. Where are you reading from today? Comment below. Ever misread someone, then got stunned by their secret skill? Hit subscribe for more tales that prove assumptions die first when truth steps up.